I'm really excited to introduce Todd. Is the Global Vice President of Solution Engineering at Q Branch of Salesforce. So he's fresh off Dreamforce, pumped up for this, and he's going to give us a 15-minute lightning talk of all Todd to talk about how pre-sales can get a seat at the table with other executives and sales leaders. So Todd, thanks for coming and take it away.
Yeah, thank you. And man, just listening to Carrie and Amin, I might be beating a dead horse here because you guys have covered so much of what I'm going to talk about. Um, and so let me just lead with I've got 15 minutes here to make a point. And for anyone that knows me, you know that I'm a pretty positive person. In fact, I spend most of my time in the bucket of positivity. But um, you know, for those that hear my talk, sometimes I like to challenge, sometimes I like to be a little bit controversial. And it's really because I want to push us. I want to push us as a profession to start taking action, to start moving. I really, the seat at the table concept is something I talk a lot about. I just don't feel like we're moving fast enough. And so today I'm going to be provocative like I usually am, but just know that like I'm doing it for a good reason. So let me just kick things off by saying, um, you know, there's a trend out there. Buyers, prospects, customers, marketers, Gartner, they are all telling us that the demo is the most valuable activity in the buying process. Like that is not a debatable fact at this point. We also know that buyers want to see a demo early in the sales cycle, and that most buyers are somewhere between 60 and 70% through their buying process before they actually contact a human. So if you hear that and you know that and you believe that, um, why is our experience as pre-sales professionals, why is it sometimes contradictory to how we're treated in our own organizations? And this is where I'm going to hopefully draw out some pain and fire people up a bit because, it's our job to sell the pain. But, why is it that we get called the demo people? Why are we sometimes considered a cost center? Why are our teams not important enough to get an invite to club? Why do we sometimes get told, well, other teams are growing, but we just can't justify the headcount for your group, right? What we know and what we believe is very different than what we sometimes experience in our own corporations. And I will just say, like, hey, if you've got a seat at the table and it's very different for you, awesome. I think today is about how do we take it and advance it even further. Um, but I'll start by saying I think one of the reasons why we struggle with a seat at the table, and um, Amin and Carrie were just mentioning this and talking about this, is that our KPIs are different. And I've brought up the funnel here, and I brought up the 6 demo types from Garen Hess's book, Selling is Hard, Buying is Harder. And I put these different demo types into a funnel deliberately. And this was just discussed in the last session. Historically, we are very much focused in the mid funnel to the bottom of the funnel with our live demos. That's where the profession has lived. That is the art. I'm on stage right now. This is why we do what we do. We love it. Um, but the problem with that is that we often get shoehorned into a particular type of demo. And if you would kind of, you know, ask our sales brethren out there, we are the masters of the live demo. And it's funny because SEs do so much more than just the live demo, but yet that's kind of the bucket we get put in. And we get put in that bucket because we've let people put us there. We haven't thought about demos as it relates to anywhere else in the funnel. And I think this is where demo automation plays a really big piece. And we as pre-sales professionals need to think about not just owning the live demo, but we need to own all demos. And Demo Stack has some great technology out there that's going to allow us to start talking about KPIs that are very different in our past. And so let me just go to the next slide here. And so for those that have heard me talk, I'm so sick of our traditional KPIs. I'm so sick of them because I feel like they're getting us nowhere fast. And I feel like they're the same KPIs that when I talk to professionals that have been doing this for 20 plus years, they're the same KPIs. They haven't evolved. And so if we do really move into this bucket of let's not just own the live demo, let's own demos, period, for our organizations and our companies, the KPIs start to get a lot more interesting. And these KPIs start to look a lot more like what CROs and salespeople care about. So I think, that is kind of the one, my main premise today is that in order to get a seat at the table, we have to be talking the same language as our sales counterparts. We can't be talking about, well, we logged this many activities and we spent this much time doing demo prep and the importance of discovery. Look, we've all been on that call where, we're in the meeting and this concept of discovery goes out the window because the AE leans over to you and says, just show them the product, right? And so we have to start talking about KPIs that salespeople and sales leaders care about. And that's really what demo automation, that's really some of the software out there, like what DemoStack is doing, is allowing us to do. It's going to allow us to talk about pipe generation, right? How is a customer demoing your software or clicking through your software in a POC, and what are they doing? Well, guess who set up that POC? It was probably an SE. So what I like about all this technology is it's selling while we sleep. We, of course, are the content creators. You need us to build these things, but it scales our brains. It scales our talent in a way that we've never thought before. We really unlock it. And so with this automation, all of a sudden, we start getting into this new camp, pipe gen. What does pipe qual look like? AEs, customers can use this tech to qualify in or out. Deal velocity. If we know when things were viewed and at what stage, we can start to look at, hey, when an AE used this type of demo versus not, how fast things go through the cycle. How many new stakeholders have we discovered? These things tend to go viral. Deals closed without an SC. I just noticed Ryan in the comments there. That is a very scary concept. And in fact, some of you on this call are probably like, whoa, you crossed the line here, pal. What are we talking about? Demos closed without an SE. But here's the deal. If we care about all demos, isn't that a good thing? If that we've provided resources that allowed more salespeople to close deals without us, and that the deals that we do get engaged with are the really hard ones, the ones that really deserve a live demo, wouldn't that be an amazing thing? And so, this is really underlying what this tech can bring to us. And it has to be a mental shift. If you only care about the live demo, you care about headcount because that's the only way you scale. I make this analogy all the time, and excuse me if you've heard it, but I equate the live demo to Broadway theater, and I'll maybe use Hamilton as an example. If you think about the live demo, your theater capacity is the number of people in your company that can do demos, multiplied by the working hours in a given year, and probably cut that by 50% because people don't do demos for 8 hours a day. That is your theater capacity. That is the most amount of demos that you could do for a customer. And it's limiting. And look, I love theater. I love the art of presenting live like what I'm doing right now. But it can't exist by itself now in a world where there's Netflix and Disney Plus. We need an always on channel. We need to unlock our knowledge and allow other people in the company to share it or allow our customers to experience it on their own. And so, again, this is a lightning round. I'm trying to cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time, but let me just go to the next slide to kind of drive this point. It's really interesting to think about all the tech software out there. And if you think about all the technology that is out there to help our sellers sell better. I just heard Gong mentioned on the last session. Okay, let's think about that. We are now listening to every word on an AE's call to make them like 0.5% better. Like that is like the lengths at which technology has gone to help sellers. And if you count how many apps are out there to help make sellers better, it's probably in the hundreds of thousands. It's a very crowded space. If you look at the pre-sale space, I mean, Carrie would probably know this. They did some analysis and did a phenomenal job of a buyer guide last year. And I think it was like kind of 38 that they had. So like, let's say it's probably 60 plus now. 60 versus hundreds of thousands. And so I bring that up because it is time that we as pre-sales get in the game. When I look across our organization, marketers are probably some of the best data scientists in our organization. They look at every piece of data. They are capturing website behavior all the way to like content consumed. And yet, when you look at our KPIs, right, unless an SE kind of manually logs some stuff after they did a live demo, there's not a lot there. But we have a lot to give there. And so I brought up this screenshot from Demo Stack because I think it starts to articulate what we're able to now capture when a buyer is doing a POC by themselves, maybe an AE is giving a demo. Again, keep in mind, SE built the content, someone else is giving it. We can now start to look at what demo was it? Was it industry specific? What features did they click on? How long did we spend on those features? It blows my mind that the activity that everyone is saying is the most important in the buying process does not have this level of detail and KPI capture. It just blows my mind. And what I like about all this detail is we can really start to analyze the effectiveness of what's going on. Carrie was just hitting on this. Company wants to sell a certain product or feature. There's marketing dollars being spent. We're enabling AEs. What were people actually showing? What were the AEs showing? What were customers clicking on? What were SEs showing? Does that paint the full picture? And so I'm so excited about this tech because not only is this going to help us in the pre-sale space with our KPIs, getting a better seat at the table, allow us to speak the language of sales. You know who else is very interested in this data is marketing. This is going to be this data will be fed into CDP platforms. We at Salesforce call ours the data cloud. This is a gold mine of information that we can use to better understand what our customers' needs, what they want, what they're interested in. So covered a lot of ground in 13 minutes. Let me just pause. Barry, do we want to do any Q&A with the last couple minutes, or where do we want to go?
Hey, so yeah, we could do Q&A. This was awesome. On fire, as always. How does removing an SE from demoing add a risk for churn?
Yeah, it's a balance, right? And look, I think there are probably products that we all sell that could be sold without an SE. Let's be honest, they could be sold without an AE, right? There's probably a huge self-service element of this, right? Especially in the category of product-led growth. And so I think, if you have a massive deal, you might be iffy about sending automated demos in early on, right? Like that's a big fish on the line. You don't want to take risk of your line breaking. So I think it's deal by deal, it's segment by segment. You have to be the best judge there.
Yeah, there was a lot of commentary during the session about, is it better to do no demos for SEs, or is it better to always make sure that you're in the demo? You want to speak more about that?
Yeah, it's a little bit what Column has said here too about deals without an SE. I guess what I should really be calling that is like deals without a live demo would probably be maybe a better description of that. Um, so uh, I think you just have to balance it. I also will go back to kind of the 6 demo types. I think automation plays a huge role at the top of that funnel, right? Perfect sweet spot. Let's use demos to prospect with. Let's use demos to qualify with. And then once we get past that phase, okay, doors open to put a human being on this and do some live demos. But I think, to just really get to the point, what are we talking about? We're talking about eliminating some of the harbor cruises that we all know is not worth our time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, I have more questions, but I know we have to move on from the lightning talk. So, Todd, thank you so much.